Thank you guys for being here today and allowing me to present our Building Efficacy Leadership and Empowerment Growth Plan for High Point Central High School. Now, we know that leadership experience are so important for teachers, and that as an administrator, the best thing that we can do is to be intentional about giving our teachers opportunity for leadership roles in our school and guiding them to be the best leader that they can be inside the classroom and outside the classroom. Now, we talked about the five identified best practices for schools, which is building efficacy and empowerment, results-oriented professional development, recruitment, placement, and mentoring of school staff, approaches for evaluation of school staff, and teacher leadership and decision-making. Now, we gave this teacher working conditions survey, and we took questions from each of these categories to see what the gaps were in for our school between teacher leadership, student learning. Now, the data that we collected showed that our school lacked in almost every area. We were at disagree and strongly disagree in almost every area that I just mentioned of those five best practices. So instead of us trying to, hey, we need to attack all five of these areas, we are going to pick the number one area and then also kind of secondarily hit a number two area in hopes that we can end our school year on a positive note, and also perhaps if we can change those two areas, it may trickle over to the other three, and then definitely be intentional to work on those three in the next coming school year. So first I want to talk about the questions that we put on the teacher working conditions survey and how they were answered. First question: there's an atmosphere of trust and mutual respect in this school. And our teachers were allowed to answer or given the choices of strongly agree, neutral, disagree, or strongly disagree. Question number two, and these questions are from categories of building efficacy and leadership, leadership and decision making in our school. Second question: faculty has an effective process for making group decisions to solve problems. Next question: teachers feel comfortable raising issues and concerns that are important to them. Teachers feel their time is valued and they are appreciated. School leadership consistently supports teachers. And those were the questions that we used to base our gap analysis on: building efficacy and then leadership. We also collected data from our walkthroughs. And this is an example of the checklist from the walkthroughs that I used to observe five different teachers: learning environment, instructional strengths, classroom management, differentiation, student engagement, assignments, planning, progress and monitoring feedback, communication, and student discourse. Now, we're going to talk about the responses from the survey. The first question, I'm going to pull up the percentages here. There's an atmosphere of trust and mutual respect in our school. As you can see, we have strongly agree, disagree, or strongly disagree. And if you look at this first paragraph, there's only three different colors. That's because 0% of the teachers strongly agree that we work in an atmosphere of trust and mutual respect. Then we have 12% that agreed, 51% disagreed, and 36.73% strongly disagreed. So we have more than 3/4 of our staff feeling that they don't work in an environment of trust and mutual respect. School leadership consistently supports teachers. Again, we had 0% strongly agree with this question. Only 20% agreed, 41% and 41% disagree, then 39% strongly disagree. And that is a total of 80% of our teachers strongly disagreeing that they are being supported by our administration or leadership. Teachers feel their time is valued and they are appreciated. We actually had a small percentage say that they do. 8% said that they feel their time is valued. We had 12% agree, 50% disagree, and 30% strongly disagree. Again, 80% of our staff feel they are valued and they're appreciated. And when I tell you, time is a thing. If people don't feel like their time is valued, I don't think you're going to get much production from them. Teachers are relied upon to make decisions about education issues, and this is leadership now. 6% strongly agree, 34% agree, and then we have 48% disagree and 12% strongly disagree. I need to back up, it looks a little big, 12%. Yes, so again, over half of our percentage disagree, but we did have 34% agree. So it's 40% versus 60%. Faculty has an effective process for making group decisions to solve problems. 2% strongly agree, 16% agree, 50% disagree, and 32% strongly disagree. So that's 83% disagree or strongly disagree about our group problem solving process. Teachers feel comfortable raising issues and concerns that are important to them. 0% strongly agree, 9% agree, 52% disagree, and 39% strongly disagree. They do not feel comfortable raising issues and concerns that are important to them. Now, with the data found from our teacher working conditions survey, it is obvious that we have a strong amount or a large number of our teachers who are just not feeling valued or not happy, which is contributing to our low building efficacy and the lack of leadership or lack of feeling like we are leaders in our school. So the next thing that we looked at, our next data here is results from our walkthrough observations, and it's broken down by category. Remember the categories: learning environment, instructional strategies, classroom management, differentiation, student engagement, assignments, planning, progress monitoring and feedback, communication, and student discourse. Now, I did these observations myself, and I was actually surprised at the difference between the working conditions survey data and the data that I collected from the walkthroughs. And so this is going across the top, walkthrough 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then going down, answering the questions if it was observed, if these were observed or not. And for the most part, I observed teachers teaching. I saw student engagement. There was student learning going on. There's plenty of feedback given to the students versus what I felt like was going to happen based on the teacher working conditions survey. Now, a couple things could play into this is that the teachers that I did observe were very strong teachers. In fact, they were leaders within the school of different committees that were doing it. I went into the student government teachers classroom. I went to another classroom. I think it was a baseball coach, and things like that. So I think that the teachers that I observed were very strong teachers, and perhaps the building efficacy did affect their teaching, but I bet if I went into other classrooms and more classrooms, I would definitely see a difference in what's here that would be more correlated and related to what was on the teacher working conditions survey. So, according to our data, this is our gap analysis summary. Upon finalizing my research and analyzing data, we concluded that our building efficacy is low and our teachers do not feel empowered as leaders. This is the greatest gap between research and best practices. So, with this data and this discovery, what do we need to do? What area can we attack to raise up our building efficacy and to make our teachers feel empowered. And I said, what areas do we need to attack? I mean, and what can we do? What things can we do to improve this in our building? So, we're going to have to implement a growth plan. And the goals of our growth plan is going to be to get those survey answer responses from disagree and strongly disagree to agree and strongly agree. Now, one question says, is an atmosphere of mutual respect and trust. I want to move that up from 12% to 30%. School leadership consistently supports teachers from 20% to 40%. Teachers feel their time is valued and appreciated from 20% to 40%. Teachers are relied upon to make decisions about educational issues from 40% to 60%. Faculty has an effective process for making group decisions to solve problems from 18% to 40%. Teachers feeling comfortable raising issues and concerns that are important to them from 9% to 30%. And again, this is from agreeing or disagreeing to agreeing or strongly agreeing. We're gonna raise those numbers up to the positive side. And these are short-term goals. Obviously, our long-term goals, what we want to get higher from 85% to 90% as long-term goals. But the short term, we have got to get those goals up into the positive quickly. So how are we going to do this? A couple things that I feel like we can do to try to raise up our building efficacy and to promote leadership. One would be Funshine Committee. Now this is going to be a group of teachers who will volunteer to bring joy, fun, sunshine to our teachers, and just recognize them for small things, birthdays. If there's a newborn, a birth in the family, any type of recognition that our teachers may get. It could be something outside of school, could be something small. It can also be, if there's a loss in the family, it's not always just about recognizing us for something good that we do, but if there's a loss in the family, you know, we can, hey, you know, we're family, we're also family, and just support all the teachers in the school for different things. Principal high fives. This is going to be about our admin getting out in the hallways and just talking to teachers, high-fiving them, telling them have a good day, you know, in between classes, in the hallways. And I believe that this will build teacher-admin relationships, that we're not just seeing our admin when they're coming to class to discipline someone or coming in to do an observation, but just to say hello and say, hey, I know you're working hard, I appreciate you, high five, have a good day. The other thing I want to propose is the High Point Central Forum Growth Box. Teachers didn't feel comfortable raising issues and concerns that they had that are important to them. So this growth box is going to be a box that's going to be placed in the mailroom. When we go to check our mail, we go in there every single day. We'll have a box and we'll say, this is what it is. And, you know, we're going to make this something as positive as we can. And there'll be a slit at the top, and, you know, we can write down, hey, my concern is that there are too many students in the hallway, in between classes, causing a disruption for me teaching. Drop it in the box. And then we will check this box once a week, pull it out. If there's something that we as a PLC group can kind of deal with and handle, we'll do, of course, with approval from our admin, or if we need to take it to the admin and say, hey, this is something above our pay grade, you guys need to handle this and address the staff with about this concern and this issue. Something else is our teachers do not feel that we had an effective process for group decision making to solve problems. So I propose that every department in the school come up with a process. And if we are coming up with the process and we have ownership on it, and they will turn this into us as a PLC group, we will look at all of those and pick one if it's really, really good, or we can pick portions of all of them and come up with a really good process for group decision making. Now, implementation and evaluation of our growth plan. This has got to be something that we need to implement immediately. We only have a few months left in school, and we need to make sure our teachers end on a good note so that we can also retain the good teachers that we have in this building. We cannot afford to lose any teachers because we are not going to do anything about how they feel. So as soon as we can get this growth plan approved, if we need to tweak anything, get it done, and then get it out there and roll it out. And we want to continue also at the start of the school year in August as well. So we're starting in April, and then when school comes back in August, we want to continue. Evaluation. We start in April. I'd like to have an evaluation just before we leave school. So on the Friday before Memorial Day weekend, we send out the survey again. And it's going to be a modified survey, just the questions that we use in this growth plan for building efficacy and leadership. Just those questions, and see what kind of response we get to see if it's moving in the right direction. Also, we start again in August, give that same evaluation in October. 2 months in. We don't want to wait 4 or 5 months into the next school year and try to figure out what we need to do to get the building efficacy up and making sure that we're feeling like there's something we need to tackle immediately. Also, feedback from our teachers at staff meetings, PLC discussions about the change and what we need to continue to do. Walkthroughs to observe if the change in building efficacy is translating into the classroom. And that's going to be building efficacy and teacher empowerment. Is that translating in the classroom for student learning, teacher growth, and student improvement? And that is a presentation for their growth plan. So just for sake of time, I appreciate you guys taking time to be here, but let's get together briefly in a day, and then you guys email me some tweaks, some changes, some questions that you may have, and then we can get together about 5 minutes and 2 days and figure out, if there's something that we need to tweak before we get this approved by the admin. Thanks.